human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining when half of the world is already in the new year, and, well, a good part of it anyway. Michelle, what is up? Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year. This is our New Year's celebration for the day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny. We were just talking about plans, and I'm like, this is the only plan I really had today is to get on here with you and
Yeah.
celebrate with everybody here in the chat. And beyond that, I hadn't really even thought too much about it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I know it's like 7 a.m. in Australia right now in 2020. They are in the future already. And of course, our friends in Europe and beyond are just about ready to go into the new year. So we got a few hours left for us, but
hmm
half the day is gone, you know?
Yeah, and the way time flies,
Yeah.
the rest will be gone in a blink.
Well,
So,
I like
yeah,
I
it'll
like the whole
be
idea of the 2020.
2020 next time I blink.
Yeah, 2020 vision, um, the veil dropping, the veil thinning. Things are going to be coming to light. Things are going to be much clearer. And, from 2018 was the best year of my life. 2019 was the best year of my life after that. And I expect 2020 to be the best year of my life coming forward. So from here on out, each year is going to be the best year of my life.
hmm I'm open to, I don't know what to expect. It's really, I was, been thinking about it, how I really find like each year um I've always had this like picture ahead of me of what I was going to do or what was changing or what was happening or what I was going to, maybe experience or do um and I just feel like next year I try to look at it and it's just like this, just an empty room right now. I just, it's like this blank space. And but what has come to me is the sense that very quickly in January, it's going to become very evident what 2020 will be bringing. That seems to come. I don't know. I really anticipate um, seeing some kind of drastic changes, or we'll just
Yeah.
see. It's just this. It's this big question mark
That's what I
to me
like,
right now.
Cynthia Sue Larson's How Good Can It Get? Because I really totally feel like that. And Nachiketa from India, it's like 1 in the morning there. So just going into the new year, that's awesome.
Oh wow,
Welcome
that's
to the
cool.
chat. Yeah.
That's cool. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve for all of you that's lagging behind with us.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
congratulations to you, Shane.
For the little
That's
baby
amazing,
now.
Grandpa. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
had an amazing Christmas and Christmas present to
Yeah.
go with it.
My oldest daughter had her first child, so I got to see my first baby have her first baby, and it's awesome because there's just like it just feels like they just arrived from heaven. When you hold them, they're just so warm and small, and it's just so awesome.
Precious.
They're so precious. Yeah, looking around, and I got a little bitty smile.
Yeah.
I know some people say it's gas and stuff, but I'll take the smile for what it's worth, whatever caused it.
Yeah. No, some babies do smile early. They do. Some of them smile like almost right away,
Yeah.
right? Some take a few weeks, but no, it's definitely. Some of them do smile very, very early. So that's pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. It's amazing.
They really are bundles of joy, aren't they? It's hard
hmm
not to feel
hmm
that joy and happiness with them.
hmm Well, that's it. And when we talked last week, you were talking about, how you were feeling that just like, oh, I thought about it afterwards. And I think, I think, Shane, that you got it out of the way early because this was happening for you. Like it was already, even with it being scheduled on the Thursday with the cesarean section and everything, it's like, um, that, I mean, that you can't help but be brought out of whatever you're feeling with that kind of experience, and just the joy and the new life.
Hmm.
And you're just going to feel the presence of everything. Um, but I think it's interesting that because literally the next day it hit me. Christmas Day, I was knocked out, and then really noticed like the couple of days after a lot of the stuff that you had been talking about last week, and just I don't even want to. I don't even want, and dealing with the anxiety that was coming in.
Oh, so those
You know,
blah feelings that we were talking about, like, I just don't want to. Even
yeah,
the fun stuff didn't sound fun, and you
just a
do a lot
lack.
of stuff like where you're tapping in, like doing your music and your art and stuff, and it really
Mhm.
sucks when that doesn't even sound fun or pleasing to you. So I
Yeah.
really was forcing myself to just like, nothing sounds fun. I'm just going to sit here and do sort of that meditation that I put out, where you just sit there and you just breathe in the perfection of the moment, and it really does help. I don't I was almost driven to that point
Hmm.
of doing that meditation and just realizing that the perfection, the bliss is always available to us, and to take a moment and just breathe that in. And that's
Yeah.
really the only thing that worked for me when I felt like that, you know.
It did, but there was such a and I've really heard this from seen a lot in the comments, a lot of people's reactions, different channels putting out this information, conversations. I've had um great conversation with Travis too, that we shared just about this. Yeah, like, when you're feeling so done with it, and we're on this roller coaster all the time, and then we get hit with this energy, and it's like, yeah, process, but when you get to that point of like, I'm just tired of this, I'm tired of the process, I'm tired of everything, I'm tired of like, having to feel like this. And um I just really saw a lot of people, I think, experiencing that. And because the extra anxiety hits, we had cosmic ray alerts. The solar wind really dropped out for an extended period of time. So when that happens, it allows the cosmic rays to come in
Hmm.
uh, much more, and that can really affect us in a lot of ways, and emotionally too. And I think just the energy that's coming in. And we talked last week about like overactive, like actually hearing like different voices, different languages, different, like just noise in the head. And I've really found over the last week that would kick in, not all the time, like it quieted back down. So I'm really noticing the difference of when it just gets too much, and you're just feeling drained from it. And it's, yeah, I know what to do, but I think a lot of us may have been feeling like, I'm just sick of even all of it. I don't
Yeah.
want to play this game anymore. I don't want to play this game anymore. And so I just wanted to say that because
I think it's important that people know that,
we
even
all
as,
feel like that.
yeah, we all have our waves of that. But I think the important thing to know is that it never lasts. I mean, just like the super high vibe feelings that you have don't always last. The low ones will pass as well. So
It
it's a roller
doesn't.
coaster ride. It even came through a session about the whole roller coaster ride, to just ride
Yeah.
the waves. Know that
Yeah.
it's going to be a trough or a dip in there, but it's going to come back up again. You're going to bounce back up, and just expect that bounce, wait for it, and try not to dip too low. I know that's one of the reasons why I was forced to do the meditation. I was like, there's no way I'm dropping low with this, because this could get bad. It can, I mean, we
It
are in
can.
control, and we allow it to get really bad when it does get bad. So it's important that we step in there, realize that a lot of the energies we're picking up aren't even coming from us. I mean,
Yes.
you'll
It's
know
really
that,
important.
yeah, because
That
you don't have any
anxiety.
reason. Yeah.
that anxiety, because that's the hard part too. I think when this kicks in, and that's what I'm hearing a lot about, and it is difficult. It can be really difficult when you just feel like, you're in that place. It's like, oh, no matter what I'm gonna, do, I like feel like I'm gonna crack, because you just can't get away from it, or whatever it is that may be going on, and feeling like it's just hammering away at you. And we just don't have we just feel like, you don't have the capacity at that time to, handle even small irritations. Everything can just be irritating, and it can be really tricky. And I think it has been really tricky for a lot of people. And I think it's just worth mentioning that it's okay. I have seen, and I do feel like when this energy comes in and through the course of the next year, as much as I want to be positive about next year, I really am. I know that one of the tools that this process will take is a higher suicide rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important to talk about it, to understand that if those words or thoughts or things are coming out and pushing to that, and feel and like it's not all you, and you're not alone in that. It is part of this energy dynamic. It is part of this thing. And it can, make a lot of people feel like that on a bad day.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because someone else had brought that up to me, and then they were having these feelings, and they're like, I have no reason to feel like this, but I have these feelings that's coming through. And then I don't know, it was a day or two later they hit me back and they said, you know what, I was picking up on someone else. And I think it's important that we distinguish, and that's part of like what we were talking about last week about really paying attention to your thoughts and stuff, because if you have no real reasons to feel those that way or have those feelings, then maybe it's not even coming from you. Maybe it's that whole, a lot of people are empaths, but a lot of people are just sort of coming online with their empathy. So they could just be now picking up more and more.
Open to that. From the collective. Like when this energy comes in and it shakes everything, it shakes people up, it shakes them to their core. And it shakes up their emotions and belief systems and all kinds of different things. And that agitation and that friction, all of that, it is a process to raise this, purge it, and bring it to the surface, hopefully. But unfortunately, it does take a heavy toll on people, and people in the collective that are lost, that are not awake, that we're feeling the effects of all of that. We're feeling the effects from everybody getting hit, because we are empathic. We do feel this collective, and it's kind of the catch-22 as we increase our abilities with this telepathic and the connection and understanding and all of that we are even more consciously aware of being influenced by it. It's part of this. So
I think we're like here, a lot of us are here to help transmute that.
It.
So
and
it's like
not
pulling
easy.
it off of the collective a little bit and helping transmute that into more positive energy, but realizing it's not our own. And that alone, just the knowing of that helps us to move beyond just that awareness, expanded awareness of, hey, this isn't even mine. I don't need to take this on. I just need to transmute it. This too shall pass. To have that moment of just breathing in that bliss and perfection of the moment, and just take those feelings and transmute it and know that they will pass, not to get, because a lot of times when you get like that, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you're like, oh, this is just awful.
Because that's part of that energy, that thought, that stream of thought in the consciousness is all of those people who are feeling in a place where they don't see the light, because the dark night of the soul is part of this, it just cracks that open. And so, you're feeling that, you're feeling, I think, people being in that space, even though you're not yourself. Like, I think that's why too, so many of us have been called to like completely pull away and separate from society, like, or cities, or communities, groups, things that we used to be more involved in, and have pulled away much quieter, because I think it's too much, like, to be that plugged in.
Because you
as
still get it if you're a hermit. It's not like,
yeah.
you're still getting the
And
whole
I think we
collective energy.
do so much more because of what we are and what we're doing. We do get it so much more. So yeah, so I think that's part of why it just helps to pull away from that, because we're but then that it's tricky on your mind, because you think, because you're more alone or whatever, that you're alone in that, and that you're alone in experiencing it, but really you're experiencing a lot what everybody is experiencing.
Yeah, that aloneness is part of the wave of depression that people go.
Yeah,
It's to
yeah.
feel like you're alone, to feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. That's one of the symptoms of it, to feel that way. So
Hmm.
understand that it's a lie. It's not really how it is. This too shall pass, and you will get beyond it. And just hang in there. Just hang on and
Yeah.
realize that you're at the bottom of the roller coaster ride, and you'll come back up. We
Hmm.
always do.
You do, yeah. And quicker and quicker, like, but it is difficult. I think when we see multiple things coming in and affecting this, it's a Christmas season, and like there's all that with it. Then you've got, like I said, the cosmic ray alerts, and then you've got the Schumann going off, and then the energy waves and downloads that we're receiving, and you can really feel inundated by all of it, and just kind of being pushed around with it, and I don't even know what it is exactly that's coming at me, but something's coming at me. And just exhausted from it all,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. So but I think as the clock turns over, click, and we go into 2020, I think a lot of us will be able to release and shake that off now. I can feel it lifting. I can
Hmm.
feel it, just the release of that pressure
Even since
lifting.
Christmas, I've felt
Hmm.
just the shift of all that being over. Of course, it's a good time for a lot of people, but it's a bad time for a lot of people. People lost people in 2019. That it was their
Yeah.
first Christmas without them. So there's a lot of emotions, like
Mixed
negative emotions.
emotions.
Yeah, there's both good and bad. And
Yeah.
when you've got all that coming at you, it can
It's a
be overwhelming.
swirling pit of emotion.
Right.
It's a
Very, very deep
swirling pit. And it's
emotion.
not just because of Christmas. It's not just, but I mean, that's
Right.
certainly,
Yeah, it's a catalyst, though. Yeah.
it really is. Yeah. And I think, and I think that there's many people too, you think, that are lonely or sad, that have those darker thoughts on Christmas. And I think, around that time, and it just projects into the air, and we
Yeah.
can pick up on that. So,
But I think there's a lot of hope involved with the new year. Just
yes.
the same way Christmas can be a catalyst for a lot of mixed emotions. I think there's probably a lot more positive emotions associated with New Year's, because people start their
Yeah.
resolutions.
Hope, renewed
Yeah,
hope,
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of
a
hope
new
that comes in.
chance.
And then
Yeah.
follow that up with the spring that sort of
Yeah.
reignites the feelings of the new year, and that's just
Yeah.
around the corner. So yeah, I'm expecting it to be a wonderful year, and so I just want to spread that hope out there to you guys.
Yeah. I'm very curious. Very curious. Hmm.
Yeah,
To see.
never ceases to amaze me.
Yes. Yeah. So,
A
yeah,
lot of
no
magic.
projections, no, like, I have no idea. It's amazing how much of a blank slate it is to me. It's like I'm being told, no, you don't get to see what's inside the box. It's just, yeah.
Is it a secret? It's a
It's a secret.
surprise.
It's a surprise. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting. It's like a present in a box, and I try to see inside the present. It's just dark. I can't get any pictures at all, which is a very strange feeling for me. I was saying to Trav, it's just like, it's just like I'm opening this door, and it's just like a dark room. I have no idea.
right.
Hmm.
But expect the best. The best is yet to come.
Oh no,
And
it feels, yeah, not dark. I mean, like dark in
right,
a
right,
bad
yeah.
way.
But some
Just
people are there though. Some people are like, it's dark. What is it going to be? Is it going to be something scary,
no,
negative,
no,
whatever?
yeah,
But no, it's a
no, no,
surprise.
no. Just like it's
Yeah.
a surprise.
It's all about our perception.
Yeah,
So
it's
where
like
one
you turn the
person
light,
can,
all of a sudden the lights come on, and everybody goes,
yeah,
surprise,
exactly,
right? But I have no idea what's in the room, or who's in the room, or whatever. And yeah, that alone is very unusual for me. Hmm.
Is let me see. Did we talk about the Schumann on the air yet?
No, I don't think we did. Yeah, I mean, I just briefly said that went off, but it really went off.
No, it really went off. Like now
Like it really went off. Yeah.
it's pretty calm right now, and we got a blast
Yeah, and it
about.
was calm for a while before that, and we got about 12 to 13 hours straight.
Hmm.
I think we peaked at about 92 hertz, but I think we're holding an average about 80 hertz through the majority of that time. Well, we have to go back.
Yeah, that's about as far back. But it was.
Oh no! Oh, you
got,
don't have it. It was a huge blast before that.
Right. This was about, I don't know, about 24 hours ago. But before that, it was like whited out for a while. You said, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. For like 13, like full blast, full.
And what did you say it got up to? What you said? 80? It got up to 80 hertz.
92.
92. So it had whited
It was
out the
averaging.
whole.
It was averaging at like 80 hertz, like 72 to 80 hertz for like 12, 13 hours. What?
I know that's wild, isn't it?
Crazy.
So that would
That's
be
crazy.
twice what this chart even goes to. This only goes to 40. So
Oh, it wouldn't
was,
even show it. Yeah.
yeah, it was
So I don't know
whiting
if you
out.
go on the disclosure site. If you go on the disclosure
Yeah, let me
site
see.
that we look at, they might have that blast up there now, Shane, and show you. But there it is.
There it is, yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, wow, yeah.
As Mr. MBB would say, look at that. Look at that.
Will you look at that?
Look at that. What?
Yeah, that's funny that we just moved beyond it.
Oh,
This
he should rate his photos, his like sky photos and videos based on like as opposed to stars, like 5 stars. It should be like 5 look at that's like how many look at that's it gets. Look at that, because it's really good when he can't stop saying like look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Mr. MVP.
Yeah, this photo gets 4 look at that's. So there you go. That is quite a blast. And
We're at power 13 right now.
Yeah, and if you scroll down a little bit further. So there we go. Not too far. 29th. Where was it? 20. Oh, I thought it was the 28th. ComCom. No, 29th. 72. There we go. Right? Reach, so 65. And then second part of the day.
80 and 82.
Oh, 93 hertz. Generated strongest peak of 90 hertz. Seems that suddenly as they started, they rapidly dropped. So okay, no, there we go. 12:29, 17 UTC. Today's activity lasted 13 hours from 23 yesterday to 12 UTC today. The average was about power 70, and only once, briefly, for about 15 minutes around 8 UTC, the amplitude went below power 40. Graphically, it looks like a column of light.
Yeah, it does.
Second part of the day, yeah, 93 hertz.
Let me look at that picture again.
Boom. Boom.
That's weird how it hit like a normal section for like a few pulses.
Like a little, yeah. We just switched gears.
Yeah. And so to put it in perspective, if this chart was twice as long as what it is, it would have went the whole way of 2 times this.
Plus a little bit past.
Yeah, because this only goes to 40. So keep in mind that 90 would have been off the charts too.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I wish they would.
And for that long
this.
a period of time.
Yeah. So if anybody was having headaches and stuff like that,
headaches for sure. Dizziness, twitching. I know Mom was getting eye twitching. So many symptoms. Gosh, we talk about them that's what I think, this week we could list off every single system, or symptom, just run the gamut on it. So, I think everybody could be feeling a bit of everything. And I certainly have like, as far as even like the ups as well as the, the good stuff and the high energy activations and, to the lower stuff. So it's definitely been,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
sleep time.
Right.
How's your sleep been? Mine.
Erratic.
Yeah.
Completely erratic.
Me too.
Completely.
Yeah, I've had
Like,
days of feeling so tired that caffeine can't even pull me out of it, and
and then other ones I'm
right. And
just
I'm
awake.
like that now. I'm like super amped up
I'm
right
like,
now, but
yeah, and my
that doesn't
mind's
mean I
just
won't be
going.
wanting to take a nap in an hour. Like, oh god, oh,
Oh,
it's hit me.
it's
I gotta lay
it's
down.
like almost like fever pitch. Like, it'll go and then go like
Yeah.
down. And then go, and then you get to that place where you're like, oh, I'm good. And then it's like, and then it just keeps going. And you're like, okay, this is too much.
Right.
And
And I'm
then
glad you said
whoa,
that.
you're back down again.
So glad Marianne said that, dizziness and vertigo, because I got both of those, and it crossed my mind because there's been a
Yeah.
lot of people with flu-like symptoms around me, and I thought, oh, am I picking
Yeah.
something up, and I'm not going to claim that and all this
Everything.
stuff, but I've had like waves of dizziness, ear ringing,
Yeah.
all of the typical things that we talk about on this channel that just like the full range of stuff. I mean, normally I have like two or three things to talk about, but I've been
Mhm.
getting it all. It seems like a
all,
little bit of
all
everything, a
and I'm really
smorgasbord.
noticing how it's like, we talked about the up and the down, but how it's like doing that physically through the body. Like I'm being affected in the different, chakra centers, like something, physically, like within each of those, and feeling the consequences of it moving through each part. Hi, Zozo. Like, I hurt my back
Oh,
the
Zoe's
day
so
after
sweet.
Christmas. Couldn't move. I was in so much pain, like the kind of pain that just like you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
And and it just that, and right down to the tailbone, and just
Mm.
really feeling, and the head, like the headaches, and then working all the way down, yeah, to the twisty gut too again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, but just really rapid like this. Yeah. So right now we're good right now, right?
Right.
Yeah, but we'll see. Hey, Zoe, we'll see.
Let's see. Seeing what
No, Baba, no.
high blood pressure. Yeah, that's a big one, Dave.
Yeah,
And that could lead to headaches and stuff too. That's
it
another
does.
one.
It does. I
Or
really
feeling
feel like
hot.
the pressure.
A lot of hot and cold flashes and
Yeah, like that's how I feel when it starts in here, comes in through the head. Like, even a few days, it was like a post in my head, through the top of my head, like going in when it came in. And this is like an iron pressure plate on my forehead.
mm-hmm.
Like, just, crunch and go through and feel that through the jaw. And chills like would run through me,
Yeah.
like sweep through you, really whoosh, like
Yeah.
really weird. And then maybe tingly burny with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
I've gone and checked the thermostat several times. I'm like,
yeah,
what? Why is it so cold? Why is it so hot? And it's like
yeah, and it
thermostat's the same every time, so it's like weird.
exactly sweeps through, and then down, and then it goes down to here, and then the heart palpitations, so flip flops, and the blood pressure from between here to here, and when the ears are picking up and ringing, also clicking. um Eyes do weird things,
Yeah, the twitches and all that stuff.
twitches, and or see more static, or
Yeah.
spots of color.
Yep, I've been
um
getting those, like
you've
in
been
the
getting that, like
sparkles.
all
The
of a
sparkles.
sudden
Yep,
something goes,
spots of color.
what was that?
Right. I always feel like like I just caught a glimpse of an orb, but sometimes it's not. It doesn't look shiny. It just looks like a spot of color rather than an orb like I typically see, where it's like looks like it's
Yeah.
glowing or whatever. Kind of gamey says, cracking jaw and yawn. Let's see. Let me back up a little bit. My head gets
The throat.
lightning that forces me to yawn.
Mm.
I had that the other day where I was yawning so much I was crying. You ever yawn so much you're like crying? It's like your eyes are just watering and stuff. It's
Yeah,
not like
you know what, the watery eyes is a good one to say too. That's one of the things I noticed. Mom was noticing with her eyes. She's like, feels like this one's like different, like smaller, and it just this like Yeah, maybe either like swelling or watering,
Mm-hmm.
twitching, all kinds of different things.
Marianne's
Hmm.
talking about seeing shadow people more often in the vision.
Oh,
I've been getting that like out of your peripheral vision where you just see something. Even during meditation this morning, it was almost like somebody was waving their hand across my face like this, like
yeah, I've gotten that a few times
yeah,
where it was like I'll be doing something and it's like something sweeps by,
yeah.
like
But I
flits
get light and
by.
dark. It's not just all. So I don't think
No,
of it as
yeah,
just a
but I
shadowy
have
figure. But
noticed
yeah,
some seems like shadowy.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes it's like a glint
mm-hmm,
streak or glint or spark,
yeah,
or sometimes it's a sense of color.
yeah.
So a lot of different things.
I
That's
think
what,
that's third eye stuff happening. To be
yeah.
honest,
But I'm getting used to it.
yeah, I'm getting
Like
used to
I
it too.
just take note, but don't like react so much, and just allow myself to just process. I think part of that is just
Yeah.
more than starts to happen, right?
Yeah, and I recommend not going to your doctor and saying that you're seeing balls of light flying around or shadow people walking by or anything. They might medicate
No,
you.
no, yeah.
Of course, I'm not offering medical advice. I'm just telling you from
No,
my own experience, I don't think I would do
yeah,
that.
you just end up with medication, prescriptions. That's what I found. I got rid of all those
Yeah,
finally.
and
They
I think
just
they're
build up one after the other.
designed to to suppress those. I see them as abilities. I don't see them as anything to fear at all. I see it as part of human evolution, the evolution of human consciousness, if, in
Mm-hmm.
scientific terms. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we're changing and abilities are coming online. And I think, we don't want to go the fear route with it because I know it can be scary when new things are happening to you. But at the same time, it's so comforting to know that, oh, other people are dealing with this. Okay, I'm not alone with
Mm-hmm.
this. It's not some kind of issue that I need to, worry about. So that's one of the reasons why we get on here and do this is to
Yeah,
let people know
exactly.
that it's not only you, these feelings, other people are feeling it, and then people can chime in the chat and share what's going on with them. So I think it's huge that we have this little community here where we can discuss these things because anybody
Mm-hmm.
else in your life, if they're not experiencing it, they're like, you might want to seek some medical advice on that one.
Yeah, they're obligated to give you advice. People feel, well, try to help you and tell you what to do to fix it.
Right.
But it's not all about fixing it or making it go away. It's about understanding it, right?
Hmm.
And hmm
It's a fun
yeah.
ride, though. It's a fun ride when you can get beyond the fear and just look at the excitement of it. And I think a lot of times, if we are too fearful with it, it's our higher self slows it down. It's like, okay, that's enough for now. And when I say bring it on, bring it
Yeah, no,
on, as much as I can take.
I think you're right. They have to put the brakes on a little
Yeah.
bit and tap the brakes a bit. I think you're right. But I also do think it's normal, like even as much as we practice and get good at that, to realize when all this stuff gets agitated and in the air like it is, that fear is swirling around out there, and it's not necessarily within you, but you pick it up and it's identifying with it, right? Once you
Yeah.
latch on and identify and then take it, and then you're taking it into yourself. But um
And then
it's
you
good
pair
to
that
see
up
it
with,
and understand it. But
yeah, yeah. When you pair it up with things like the Mandela Effect and stuff like that, you can feel
yeah.
like you're going crazy. So I mean, I totally get it. I get how it can seem like reality's changing. I'm seeing stuff. What the heck's
Mm,
going on here? And then you go and you look online and all you're finding is all this fearful stuff about the Mandela Effect and stuff like that. So there's
yeah.
plenty of fear out there. That's for sure.
Well, that's it. And that, yeah, it's literally in the air. So we do catch a whiff of it sometimes, and we're like, "What's that smell?" But um, yeah, it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Wasn't
That's
you.
funny because I've had a few instances now in dream time where I can't really remember what I was dreaming, but I definitely felt like I was with a group of other people doing things, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
it didn't
yeah.
just feel like a random dream. It felt like I was just remembering a little bit of getting together. I don't know if it's training or what it is, but it just had that feeling about when you wake up, like, dude, I was just somewhere doing something. You know what I mean?
There's a sense of accomplishment
Yeah,
I've noticed.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and
Like there's
completing,
some
like
meaning there.
putting something together, putting pieces together,
Yeah.
and gratification of accomplishment with others. Like I have noticed that. It was interesting. I noticed it come up for other people too. We talked about last week, but I want to bring it up again because I think other people might have noticed this. Weird stuff coming up in dreams with like attached to shame and guilt and
Right.
yeah, sort of in finding yourself in like weird situations and being left with really uncomfortable feelings, like or feeling bad or um about something that happened. And
In dream time,
that's
though.
yeah, that
Right.
has really come up. um I've heard that from several people, and I noticed, and for me, it was like weird snippets, like we talked about last week. I don't usually get dreams like that, and it was really odd. And because I normally find that the dreams are like what we were just talking about, going in and doing things and completing things and feeling like this accomplishment, like I know what I'm doing in my dreams. This was different. This was like, what is going on? What am I doing? What am I doing here? Oh, how did I let that happen? How did I do this? Like that sort of thing, like being in this situation all of a sudden, which doesn't normally happen for me. So that's where I was really noticing it. And it did go on for about a week, and I have heard sort of similar things about these sorts of feelings coming up. And how did that happen? Or like regret, doubt, guilt, shame, weird, all this weird stuff that that seems to have come out. So it's definitely been prevalent, but it seems to have eased up now, and it's gone back to what you were just talking about, where again, working with other people, like more teamwork, like friends, like
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, type of people, like you don't even have to explain what you're doing.
Right.
You're just
It's more
doing
like
like
briefings and debriefings and things like that. I know one time
yeah,
in the last
yeah.
week, I woke up and had a thought left on my mind, sort of like the one time I woke up. I mentioned it a few weeks ago where I woke up and I actually still heard the woman speaking to me, like saying, that's the job of the Matrix, to make it seem real, to make it, to make it, keep you in it and all this stuff, and I was like sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, well, that happened again, except I didn't hear the voice, but the thought was still lingering, and it's going to seem hard, but it's not hard. And that was the lingering thought I awoke with, that, like I had just been told that, that it's going to seem hard, but it's easy. That's what
Yeah,
it
I was
was.
just talking about that too. So there's synchronicity for there in what you're just bringing up and talking about. You didn't, I don't think you told me about that dream.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And oh no, yeah, that's really interesting. Hmm.
It's like sort of these thoughts that they're giving you to keep in the back of your head, and that's synchronistic with an email I got, from Micah from Finland, saying that, you know, it's all a simulation, it's all a game or whatever, and I
Yeah.
can understand people not liking that terminology or whatever, but when you realize that there's no single objective reality that we can all agree upon, which we see with the Mandela Effect, we all have different experiences and memories and all of that. It's a very individualized game for everybody. Things are set up for each person individually to help them grow. Things are brought to the surface individually that people need to work on. Everybody's got their different issues that need to be
Mm-hmm.
addressed personally, that we each
Mm-hmm.
need to be addressed, and situations will arise to help bring that to the surface. And once you realize all of that's to help you grow, then it's not like, that's the whole thing I always say about moving out of the whole victim mentality thing, because you can sometimes feel like you're being attacked and all your buttons are being pushed, and all your buttons are being pushed, but
Yeah.
for a very good reason, to bring that stuff to the surface. Why was I triggered there? Something brought that up because I need to deal with it, not to, we have this tendency to want to blame the other person that
Like
brought
you're
it
being
to us.
punished. Yeah.
Right. But it's really not like that at all. It's to help us grow. It's to help us experience and learn to deal with things in a new
Hmm.
way, not the same old way we've been dealing with it. And I think the more we can do that, the quicker we can move through these uncomfortable stages, you know, and not
Yeah.
keep repeating. Because, you know, it's like a test to come and then it'll come in a whole different way, but it's still dealing with that same issue over and over again. But it's, you
Hmm.
know, once we realize that if we move beyond that or learn our lesson or what it is that the reason it keeps coming up, then it helps us to move it on to the next thing. It's not like it's over with. Maybe that specific thing is over, but the next thing will be brought to the surface that you have to deal with, you
Yeah. Yeah. There's always something.
know.
And and I think that's where we can feel exhausted in this too when we get to those points. It's like, there's always, haven't I dealt with it all? No, there's always something else.
Always something else. Yeah.
Hmm. Always push it to another level, but hmm.
Let's see. I guess somebody spell check called somebody nacho cheese or something. Is that what's going on here? Nacho keys. That's. I'm so glad nobody takes themselves too seriously. It's like that almost sounds offensive, but no, it was an accident. That's so funny that we got such a loving group here that doesn't jump to conclusions about stuff. You know.
Well, I should hope so. Yeah, there's no reason to get all agitated over little things. Yeah,
Yeah,
drama,
buttons getting
drama.
pushed. Everybody's feeling the buttons getting pushed. Hey, Suso. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt like I should have brought some party favors or something, you know, like 2020
Yeah,
or
should
woo
have
or
brought the
something.
party. I don't. I think another thing to be said is for the energy that's going on is being at a loss for words,
Yeah,
at times, and having less and less to say, or sometimes things just coming out so quickly and easily, and then other times it's just like I can't even think of the word, like a simple word, and I can't even think what that word is.
yeah.
Like, yeah, just really noticing it just blanks out, train of thought blanking out, just dropping off. Yeah, not even
And
being
then
able to think
also,
of what to say.
yeah, and then the other thing is like just the whole idea of having to defend a certain point, you know, it's like the need to feel like, you know, and I don't, you know, I even don't even feel the need to bring up any specific examples because it'll just start a debate. You know what I mean?
I
But
know.
I'm just saying, if somebody has an idea how stuff works, and you're like, yeah, yeah, you know, but you know, maybe you don't agree with that. It's like it's okay if that's how you see things. You see things the way you're gonna see them, you know, and
That's
it's like,
it. Your need to respond just decreases so dramatically because you don't need to exert your your knowledge, your explanation, your thing.
yeah,
And I mean, obviously I come on and I do this on purpose with you
right,
here on the
right,
show, but I
yeah,
have to push myself more and more to do that. Or believe before I was doing it without thought, right? To
right.
a point where, you know, yeah, where it was too easy. I too relied on my intellectual verbosity. Like it just,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, but
and
one of
it's
the
in
things that
when you have
keeps
less
coming
and
up.
less to say.
Hey, Diane from across the pond. Yep, you're right. Yep, just a few hours. 3 hours to go for UK. Awesome. Happy New Year to you guys. Um, what was I going to say about?
See? Exactly what I mean.
I mean, it's okay,
Um,
and having that feeling that it's okay.
Oh
You
well.
know. Oh, I was going to say, there it went.
Yeah, it'll come back.
More and more with BQH sessions, you realize that people get things within the paradigm that they live in, you know, like the information. So if they're living in a world with angels and demons and wars in heaven and things like that, then they get information that fits into their paradigm for what they need to hear, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like wherever people plug in at is how they get the information back to them, you know, because there's people that aren't at that level, or I don't even want to say level because that sounds condescending, but they're just in a different way of seeing things. And then the
Hmm.
information they get fits how they see things. And I love that so much because it's like we get exactly what we need, the way we need it to push us into that next thing. And BQH is just one small example, QHHT
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. But even, little epiphanies and stuff. If you're like living within a certain framework, worldview, or whatever, things will come to you. It's like saying that, for a Christian, Jesus or the Holy Spirit will show up for that person and how they need to see things. But if maybe you're, into Buddhism, it will come that way. Maybe Buddha will show
Mm-hmm.
up to you or whatever. But it's like you just get things the way you need it. And that's so different than the way I viewed things years ago. Like when I was heavily into Christianity, it has to come from Jesus or
Right.
whatever, or for Catholics, it comes through Mother Mary and the angels, and but it just comes for
Really, it meets you where you're at.
exactly. It's like, and then once you realize, like, we limit God, whatever God creator is, by
Mm-hmm.
saying that, oh no, he only speaks English. And that's really that's sort of the extent of how we're looking at it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at all the
Yeah.
different worldviews as languages,
Yeah.
why would a loving creator not come and speak to you in your own language?
Yeah.
It's such a human thing to put that type of limitation on, a force that's so powerful and limitless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And my mind just went blank. Yeah. I had something.
So he's speaking to you in
I had
colors
something.
and fractals and beautiful imagery that is beyond words. You
Yeah,
know?
I think you know what though, Shane. That's a really good point. Why I have less and less words, because there's imagery that goes through in processing chunks of thought that aren't. It's not like sentences, and I think that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You're
I know
starting
what
to
I
get.
wanted.
Oh,
I
go
do
ahead.
know what I wanted to say because it kind of ties in is what I noticed with watching a lot of different channelers and um mediums and that over the years is uh one thing you'll hear them often say is when they see like pictures in their head, it's like, well, this is what this means to me. Like when I see this, when I see yellow roses, like when I'm shown yellow roses, this is what that means to me. So that's how so you can really see that the way that they receive the information is through their own references,
Mm-hmm.
their own, well, if I'm shown this picture, I know that like that's the meaning it holds to me. And you can see that they all have their own way of doing it. There's no one specific, you know, meaning for each person. Oh well, when you see this, that's what it means. No, it's that person's interpretation. It's using what's in here to give us those metaphors and show us these pictures. But which, yeah, it leads me to the point that I think that that's it, is a lot more of these thoughts conceptually are just flowing through sort of visually more.
Yeah, yeah, because you realize how limited language is, don't you? Once
For
concepts begin
processing
to,
speed,
yeah,
I think that's what, for processing speed,
yeah, it can
like
really hamper down, and I'm finding it harder and harder to express things in words because they're,
you have to translate.
yeah,
You have
it's like
to
you have to
slow down.
condense and sort of, I don't know, squash it down into words, and sometimes it just doesn't fit very well into words,
No,
you know?
no. And I think that's one thing that we've seen. Like, oh, I know I joked about this probably like a year ago of how, in going through this process and the changes with the different symptoms, is that I would have to come up with a series of words, to describe one thing that I'm feeling, like we used to say, are you, I have an itch, like it's just an itch, or something, there's just one word. And, these symptoms that we started experiencing, and they were new and they were different. And yet I had to find different words to put them together to try to give some conceptual idea of what the experience was
Yeah.
of a symptom, right? And yeah, it's getting trickier, and I do notice how much more these visuals just flow through without the thoughts, especially lately, Shane, with with how much I've noticed this, like this up and down, and the difference between when it's noisy
Mm-hmm.
and all this more like commotion going on, and then to when it gets quiet, and how much less thought there is, and then it's just this stream of visual, conceptual, uh understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not
I've been
breaking down, all having to logically take my mind to break down each component to understand each arm, and how everything connects, and how all these pieces fit together, so I can logically know that it's it's a flowing movement of knowledge that uses your imagination and imagery and your senses, because I noticed too that the body then will physically respond to these knowings, like as you know, the imagery and the understanding sort of flow through, the concepts are like a movement, a flowing movement, and when the words do come in, they're very simple. That's often when I find you'll get like retold something so simple, like that you've heard, you know, tons of times before, but in that moment you come to like a deeper understanding on a much more expansive level of the simple truth of a statement. That's the only words that are used. And it's understanding that on a deeper level, and then that's when I find that a physical reaction will actually course through the body, like the shiver, that wave of shiver we were talking about,
Yeah.
like it actually whooshes through. It's not just goosebumps on the back of the neck anymore. It's like a breeze that goes right through.
I get
Also
it as like this washing over me,
wash,
like
yeah.
almost like somebody dumped a bucket of something over me. It's
Woof.
like, wow, and you just
Or
enjoy
the
it for that
heart
moment.
palpitations, or coolness or pressure or tingly, like you know, different things like that, or the ringing pitch will kick in.
Yeah. And the other thing
So
to tie along with what you're saying there, so you're getting these ideas, and maybe you'll see things in a much deeper way, but a much simpler way, and then you'll get this physical response. But to add to that, you'll begin to see it reflected back to you in reality as well,
immediately,
with synchronistic things happening around you, and you're like, dude, this is, and you know, and I'm
yeah.
listening to you, you're like, you're talking about going, and it reminded me of Sherry just said in there, row the whole row your boat merrily, 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 gently down the stream, or life is but a dream, you know.
Hmm. Life
So
is but a
it's
dream.
life is but a dream. So, and that's what it seems like, isn't it?
Yeah, it
It
is.
totally.
It is. I think that's my, yeah, that's my big, even my dreams have told me that that's what they, it's like a lot of the big messages, like we were talking about, this dream is just a game. It's you know, it's something that we got into, and that really is, I think part of it is breaking out of that,
Yeah,
and coming here and helping to do that, crack that shell and
yeah,
break through that for the rest of humanity that got stuck in the mire of you know what's being created, right? And just to help everybody break out of that game, that dream, that illusion.
yeah. And to
Hmm.
see other people, like my second daughter, to see her, she's starting to get all these synchronicities and sharing them with me, and then we've been getting our own together. That, like for instance, I'd been dealing with, well, for a while now, the whole idea of getting out of body, astral projection. She gets me this book for Christmas, astral
Right.
projection book, you know,
Right.
and then she got me this other book about quantum science, and it's from Fred Allen Wolfe,
Hmm.
which he wrote the foreword for Cynthia Sue Larson's book. So, like right after on Christmas, she gave me the book. She picked up Cynthia Sue Larson's book that I have here, Quantum Jumps, and she's reading like the foreword in it, and it was written by Fred Allen Wolfe, who wrote the book that she just gave me for Christmas. So she got that. She goes, "Oh my gosh, look!" And then
Hmm.
you know, she's like, "This is the book I just got used from the guy that wrote the foreword for her book, and I'm like, and the funny thing is, Cynthia Sue Larson wrote the blurb for our book. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's all these little connections. She was like,
they
mind
are.
blown or whatever. And one of the first quotes in the book, in Cynthia's book, is by Fred Allen Wolfe. So right there in the beginning, she opens it up, and there he is twice in a row, not only writing the blurb, but then Cynthia Sue Larson quoting him. And it's the book
Yeah,
that she just got me. And I knew him from, I never read his books, but I'd watched quite a few of his videos and seen him in, like, What the Bleep Do We Know? Or one of those movies. I don't know if it was The Secret or What
I
the
think.
Bleep Do You Know?
Yeah,
Or whatever.
I think he was in The Secret, but I can't be 100% sure. I know I know I have read something of his, but
Right. And I've
I
seen him in
lost
tons
all
of
of my
videos.
books a
Right.
few years ago, 3 years ago, all of my books. So, but I'd started reading about quantum Archer, um, quantum science. Well, I don't know when he put that book out, but I know I started reading about the quantum thing back in the 90s when I was in my
Yeah.
early 20s. And that's when I started
Well, I went to the
having a lot
astral
of those
projection
questions.
book first, so I'm not sure when his book was written. I hadn't gotten to that one yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about the Schumann earlier on, Diane. Yeah, we had it. We got blasted for how many hours was it? 12 hours?
13, about 12 to 13 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got up to 80s and 90s.
yeah.
Beautiful. So yeah, that could
Big
definitely explain some of the symptoms we're having.
headaches and dehydration too. Should mention that. Whew.
Yeah.
So thirsty. Can't get enough
That
water.
and that can
Cannot
lead
get
to
enough water.
headaches too. So
Oh
high
yeah,
blood
for sure. And
pressure,
that's what I
not
noticed.
drinking enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
noticed the headache. I'm like, just keep drinking the water.
Yeah. Doing the
Yeah.
magnesium and the potassium to help with the
Mm-hmm.
heart palpitations. The magnesium's great for the heart palpitations and for muscle cramps, and of course potassium's good for muscle cramps as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I guess we can wrap this one up. What we got?
Yeah, I think Zoe's letting me know. It's
Gosh, I
time.
won't. I won't
That's
see you till
good.
next year.
Oh my goodness. What are we gonna do? Can't live without you for that long.
I get
No
to
way.
start with all
We're
my.
okay.
I get to do all my
We're all right.
New Year's jokes, and which I always do every year,
Yeah.
and it's annoying to everybody after
Say
about a
Happy
day
New
or
Year.
so. But Happy New Year's!
Say Happy New Year, Zoe.
Got full screen.
Say Happy New Year, Zoe.
Happy
Like,
New
no,
Year,
I don't
Zoe!
want to look at She's hiding. She's hiding. She's such a hugger. Oh.
Oh, so sweet. Well, lots of love and
Oh, I
light to you
should have
guys in
sent
the
you the
chat.
picture.
And what do you say?
Yeah, should have sent you the picture of Archer in his Christmas sweater. Sorry. Next
Oh,
week. I'm just
yeah. Last year
with
you
that.
had them running
How's
around in
that
the
for next
snow.
week?
You had them running
Yeah.
around in the snow and had
I
them.
meant to remember the Christmas sweater. I just remember before we sign off. So get that for next week.
Definitely, that'd be a great New Year's thing to do. Lots of love to you guys. Happy New Year to all of you guys. It's already in 2020. All of you about to head into 2020, and we are right behind you. And we'll see you next year. Lots of love and light to each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Michelle. Happy New Year to you as well.
Thanks,
Peace.
guys. Love you all. Happy New Year.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.